First tipping point tonight. Republicans in Congress call for a special counsel to investigate Hillary Clinton's possible crimes and former Attorney General Loretta Lynch's possible obstruction of justice. Democrats, of course, are scoffing at the idea of investigating Hillary. They claim it's beating a dead horse. But why should Hillary Clinton be held to a different standard than our Navy sailors, two of whom were sent to prison for doing the same thing Hillary did? And why shouldn't she be held accountable anyway for her lawless behavior just because she didn't win the presidency? Now, Democrats love the smoke argument. Where there's smoke, there's fire, Democrats say. Actually, every Democratic talking head on TV has echoed that line. It must be the official party talking point when it comes to the investigation into Trump and Russia. But why doesn't that same argument apply when it comes to Hillary Clinton and her ties to Russia, her pay-to-play scheme, the Clinton Foundation, Bill Clinton's extraordinary speaking fees, her private email server, her lies, BleachBit and hammers, and a memory she claims is too poor to remember deleting the 30,000 emails Congress subpoenaed from her? Watch.
Each and every day, Democrats are talking about impeaching our president. Meanwhile, there seems to be a double standard in justice. The 2016 election was a rule of law election, and I don't think that the crimes of the prior administration of Hillary Clinton, the collusion with James Comey and Loretta Lynch should be forgotten just because Hillary Clinton lost the election. So we are fighting in the Judiciary Committee to exercise our oversight authority, and let's get to the bottom of what all the scandals that happened in the last administration.
Joining me now, host of the Andrea Kaye radio show, Andrea Kaye, and Democratic strategist Joel Payne. Joel, Andrea, happy Monday.
Good to be with you guys.
Happy Monday to you.
All right, Andrea, let's go to you for this question of the day today. It's pretty simple. I mean, Republicans in Congress want a special prosecutor to at least investigate Hillary Clinton's crimes. It seems reasonable to me based off of the evidence, but the question is, why should she be held to a different standard like she currently is than, say, the men and women who serve in our armed forces? 2 Navy sailors are currently in prison for doing much the same thing that she did. Why aren't we even investigating her?
Good question, and I think I'd like to use Hillary's own words in the answer. Words from her in a tweet in January of 2016 in which she said, "There should be no bank too big to fail and no individual too big to jail." And you know what? Liz and Hillary, the American people agreed with that statement, and that's why they were shocked and outraged, actually. There was a collective shock across the nation when Jim Comey came out in the summer of 2016 and magically by the way, he impersonated Loretta Lynch, stole her identity as Attorney General when he came out and provided cover for her when there's no intent required for violations of the Espionage Act, and tried to give her a pass for that. But even if you don't agree that she actually violated the Espionage Act, which a former Attorney General Mukasey says she did, we all know, every American knows it is a felony to destroy evidence that is under subpoena, and that's just the beginning of the crimes that she's committed. And it's certainly not beating a dead horse when much of what she's done hasn't even been investigated yet, like you talked about with the Clinton Foundation and pay-to-play schemes as Secretary of State.
These are only the things that we know as the American people. We don't even know the classified version. Joel, let me ask you, if Democrats are so sure that Hillary Clinton did nothing wrong, and that's fine, they can take that stance, what happened to the smoke argument that I mentioned in the introduction? Isn't there more smoke around the things that Hillary Clinton did than even the things that Trump has done?
I promise you, I won't talk about the smoke and the fire. I know you're tired of that metaphor. Look, you know, Liz, if folks want to investigate this, that's fine. I'm pretty sure Hillary Clinton was investigated for almost the entire duration of her presidential campaign. Pretty sure she sat in front of Congress for at least a whole day, maybe a second day, and answered questions in public from members of both sides of the aisle. I'm pretty sure her life was pretty thoroughly investigated, and I'm pretty sure that Jim Comey publicly stated the things that he thought that she did wrong, even if he did not feel like that they violated the law. So, you know, look, if you want to investigate it, it's fine. What I thought you would have me here to talk about today is about President Trump and about the fact that his family, you know, has been, you know, kind of, we now know that his family has been involved with the Russian government. That goes completely in the face of what he said. All the meetings that he's taken. I thought maybe you want to talk about that, or about Anthony Scaramucci, or about all the other things that are on fire.
I do want to talk about Trump's connections, and I put that in air quotes here, connections to Russia. And Andrea, let me pivot to you. Do we still, at this point, and this is beating a dead horse if there ever was a question that's beating a dead horse, do we have evidence that Trump or anyone associated with Trump, his administration, his campaign, or his family members did anything unlawful or unethical to collude in any way with a foreign government to impact the 2016 election?
Absolutely not. In fact, there was not even any probable cause even to begin this investigation of a Democrat sitting president deciding to put the opposition party presidential campaign under surveillance. What was it based on now? Supposedly a fake dossier that was actually part of the collusion between the allegedly between the DNC, the Hillary Clinton campaign, and a foreign government. And, meanwhile, 10 months later, there has been no actual crime that anybody can come up with. The smoke, we're almost a year into it, and you didn't use the S word, but the smoke has cleared, Joel, and it does not lead back to the Trumps. It leads back to the DNC. It leads back to the Democrat Party. If the left really cared, it's like you talked about at the beginning, Liz, if they really cared about collusion between a foreign government interfering in our election, they would be looking at Hillary Clinton. They would be looking at her pay-for-play schemes in which she worked with foreign governments, $25 million that she took from Saudi Arabia. But I don't care how much time that Hillary Clinton complains about. She actually complained that she sat in front of Congress for more hours than the Benghazi people fought for their lives. There has been no investigation into the Clinton Foundation, the pay-for-play schemes, the fact that 400 and something emails, not only was the only investigation that was done was by Judicial Watch, who now, finally 2 years later, got 400 emails that show pay-for-play between the State Department, Clinton Foundation donors that resulted in a lot of money lining the pockets of the Clinton Foundation. There has been no investigation into that. Not only that, but the Clinton Foundation, according to Charles Ortel, who's done the most investigation on, the Clinton Foundation itself is the largest charity fraud that has ever been propagated and perpetrated onto the world. Ask the Haitians about that. There has been no investigation. No, well, it's true, Joel.
Liz, I've got to respond.
Jump in here, Joel. Jump in here, Joel, because honestly, regardless of which side of the aisle that you're on, this type of behavior coming from a government official should trouble us all. This is not a partisan issue. This is an abuse of power. Does that not bother you?
That frontal assault on the Clinton Foundation is absolutely disgusting. This isn't the Clinton Foundation has saved more lives.
Joel, answer the question about the emails that Judicial Watch got.
Has prevented people in parts of the world that can't have access to water, that can't have access to good food. They have done more good work. Did they do some things possibly that were not exactly the way you would want to do them in terms of, disclosure and things of that? And are there things that maybe appear a certain way? Sure, I'm sure there is. But to sit here and to invalidate the work of the Clinton Foundation, that's disgusting.
Listen, Joel, I'm shocked, to be honest.
I don't think it's the best use of our time here to be talking about what a charity organization is doing to help people in parts of the world that have been long forgotten, as opposed to focusing on a president who's embarrassing our country every single day.
Joel, listen,
That's
well,
disgusting.
First of all, it sounds like those talking points came off the Clinton Foundation. They're the ones, they are the only ones that claim that good work. If you look into the facts, and I encourage our viewers to do this, if you look into the facts of what they did with the AIDS crisis, they actually distributed AIDS medication that was watered down to the point where it wouldn't be effective, which not only is deceitful and evil given to those patients, it actually makes it more dangerous because the patients who think they are healed are not and can therefore pass along that virus. Joel, we're out of time here today, but I think we can all agree this stuff needs to be looked into. At a point in our nation where elected officials are held to a different standard than the people, that's when it gets dangerous. That is not a partisan issue. That is something, whether you're Republican or Democrat, whether the elected official is a Republican or Democrat, we have to hold them to the same standards that we're held to, or we're going to devolve into a dictatorship, and no one wants that. Andrea, Joel, thanks for being here.